Talk about data analysis. So basically, you can see, you can read this also. Data analysis basically involves a broad set of activities to clean, process, and transform data collection to procure meaningful insights from it. For example, let's take a very simple example. Suppose you're watching cricket. Okay. So what happens in case of cricket is while you're watching the while you're watching the cricket match, so you must have seen that during multiple times, suppose let's say a bowler is bowling, okay, so they will show that okay, this is the fastest ball of this innings or maybe of this match, okay, or of this player. Okay, they will show that okay, this was the run rate. Okay, this was the highest run rate or something. Okay, this much score was this much runs were scored by some particular player or some particular team or some particular highest run scored in a particular stadium. Okay, so from different perspectives, from different pots, okay, we basically analyze, we collect data, we analyze the data. Now, why? To get some meaningful insights, to get some particular information from the data, to understand what happened and what is happening. Okay, so when we talk about the past and the present, then it is called as data analysis. Got it clear? Got this class clear? Right? Now, so in data analysis, there are multiple libraries present. Okay, in Python, which we will be covering. There are 4 libraries. There are like n number of libraries available, but we will be covering 4 of them, which are most important. That is Numpy. Second is Pandas. Third is Matplotlib. And fourth is Cmod. Okay, these 4 libraries class we will be covering. Okay, so I am going to start with Numpy for now. Numpy basically class. See, these 4 libraries are basically used in different places. Numpy is basically used to do all the mathematical operations. Okay. Numpy basically extension numerical Python. Okay, so that's the thing. Then Pandas is used to handle the data in tabular formats. Okay, then Matplotlib is basically used for visualization. By visualization, I mean graphs, charts, all those things. Then C1 basically is used for advanced visualization, graphs specific to analysis. Okay. So we'll be covering all of them one by one. First class, I'm going to start with NumPy. So what is NumPy? NumPy is numerical Python. The full form of NumPy, I'm saying that is your numerical Python. Now what happens, class? See. Basically, NumPy, which stands for numerical Python, is a library consisting of multi-dimensional array objects and a collection of routines. Collection of routines means collection of functions. Okay, collection of functions for processing those arrays. Okay. Now using NumPy, mathematical and logical operations on arrays can be performed. So we'll see this now, okay, one by one. Now, class, can anyone tell me which collection data types we have already covered in core Python? Which we have covered some collection data types, right? So what all we have covered so far in core Python? We have covered your set tuple dictionary, right? Your list and string, right? So we have covered 5 of them: string, list, tuple, dictionary, and set. All of them are your collection data. String is also collection. Why? Collection of characters, no? Okay, so string is also a collection sequence data type. Okay. Now, plus in NumPy, we are going to cover one more. Okay, that is basically your array. Okay, called as multi-dimensional array. The most important object defined in NumPy is an n-dimensional array type called as ND array. Okay. It describes a collection of items of the same type. Okay. Now, if you remember, class, when we talk about list, the list is what? List is, if you remember correctly, heterogeneous collection, right? That means inside a list, I can store multiple types of data at the same time, right? That is the case of list. Now, but in case of arrays, most of the things are same between them, okay? But additional thing in array is that different thing in array is that array is homogeneous collection of elements. That means whenever I'm creating an array, I can only store same type of data inside an array. Like it, if I'm storing integer, then it will be called as integer array. If there is float, then float array. If there is collection of strings, then string array, and so on. Okay. So similarly, class, we can like store multiple types of data, but it is necessary that all type of data which are going to store should be of the same type. So let us see, class, how do we do that? Suppose let's say I'm class creating a list. So what we'll do, we'll write 4, 1, 9, let's say 5, 0, 2. So I've created a list here. Now, since list is a core data type, since list is a core data type, so you can directly create it here. Okay, but NumPy is not, sorry, array is not a core data type. So the problem with array is that you cannot create array directly. You can only typecast it. So what we will do, we'll write here np dot, say a is equal to np dot array. I will pass here L. So I'm typecasting the L list into a NumPy array. So name MP is not defined. What we will do, class, here for NumPy now, what we need to do, we need to import NumPy. Import NumPy as NP. Because Abhishek, the array is not a core data type, no? It is not present in core Python. So Python doesn't know how to create array directly. List is a core data type. So when you write list like this, it will take it. It will understand that, okay, you are trying to create a list. But in case of array, it won't understand. Array class here, array data type. The data type array is basically defined inside the NumPy module. Okay, so that is why we have mentioned np.array L. So here you can see, class, it is converting that into array. Okay, if you write it in this form, if you write using print statement, it will show you array like this. Okay. You can see the difference also. Say in list, it will give you 419502 with a comma. Okay, in case of array, it will not show you any space in between. Okay, that is in terms of representation, but otherwise arrays of same data type. Let me show you also. Suppose, class, let's say I'm creating an array. P is equal to np dot array. I will pass the data directly. 9 1.32. So here, class, tell me one thing. What will happen when I run this code? What do you think will happen when error? Oh, it won't show error. Okay. So what happens in case of this class? What it will do? Since we have stored a float, and float holds a highest, not highest, higher like precedence over integer. Just a minute. Float holds a higher precedence over your integer. So what will Python do? In the backend, while storing the array, it will convert all the data into same data type. See what happens if I convert 1.3 into integer. So what will happen? 1.3 will become 1, right? And that will be data loss. Okay, but if there is 2, so obviously I can convert 2 to 2.0. There is no data loss in that. Are you getting this, class, everyone? Okay, so Python will try to convert all the data values into a single data type, which will be like compatible with all of them without data loss. Okay, and then store it in the memory. Clear, class, till here? Any doubt so far? No, not exactly highest priority, Mamta. Mamta, it basically takes that whichever data type it is compatible, like all of the data, all the elements of the array should be compatible with the same data type. Okay, then it will convert that into that. Can we have integer array, float array, complex array? Ah, yes. Separately, no? Separate integer array, separate float array, separate complex array. So array is homogeneous, Abhishek. Still, you can see array is homogeneous. When it is creating the array in the memory, okay, it is still homogeneous. All the data values are present in float format. When we were storing the data, at that time it was not homogeneous, no. But when it stored the array in the memory, at that time it automatically converted everything to the same data type, hence making it homogeneous. Got this now, class? There is no data type precedence as such, Gaurav. See, when it comes to float and integer, so it will take float. Between integer, float, and complex, it will take complex. Okay, between integer and boolean, it will take boolean, I guess. It will take boolean in that. Okay, between integer and string, it will take string. Okay, so it is like that. Like if you like actually see, so it is like integer, then I'm writing in like ascending order. Int, then float, then complex is there, then bool is there, then bool will come later on. String is there. Between string and bool, it will go to bool. Okay, then your between list and string, what it will do? Between list and string, I guess it will go for string on. So list, tuple, dictionary. That. Between list and dictionary, I think it will throw error. It is like that. No, if you pass char, no, it won't give error. Char means string, no, it won't give error, no. It will convert everything to string. Then. We are not typecasting this from our end. It is typecasting it like by itself in the backend. Okay. Now let us see another example, class. C is equal to np.array. I'm creating it from a tuple, maybe 3, 2, high, 4.5. So you can see it will convert all of them into string format. Okay, now class, there is one thing. It is showing d type equal to u32. Okay, what happens, class? Numpy, in Numpy library, there is no concept of string. There is no concept of string per se in the library of array. Okay, so what Python does, okay, when it is not able to understand any data, so what Python will do, it will convert that into Unicode format. Okay, U32 means 32-bit Unicode data. Okay, when it is storing this data in the memory, it is showing it to us in string format. Yes. Okay, because we have stored that in string format and Python understands string format. But in case of NumPy, okay, NumPy will store the data in terms of Unicode. Now, what is Unicode? All of you remember Sky? I've covered Sky in the class, right? So Sky mein what happens? Only your in English language characters are there. Only your English language characters are there because it is American standard code. Okay, so all the characters that are present are from English language majorly. Okay, but there is one more thing class called as Unicode. So Unicode is more like a universal code. Okay, so whatever data is there, just whatever characters are there present in the entire world, be it characters in Hindi, be it English, be it French, Tamil, Sanskrit, okay, your German, French, whatever. So whatever characters are present in the entire world, okay, all of them have some Unicode value. Particular code is given to all of them. See, for all of them, there will be a Unicode character. European characters, see, Finnian, phonetic, Slovenian, Croatian, Romanian. Okay, for all the characters, there is a Unicode value. For all the characters, also see, these characters have this is a Unicode value class U plus 0 to C3. Okay, so similarly, there is like all the characters, C, A, B, C, D, all of this. Then this is what Greek language. Okay, see, rho, pi, okay, omicron, mu, lambda, kappa, iota, for theta, eta, zeta, silence. For all of them, there is some Unicode value. Okay, so that is the case. So it will store the data in Unicode format in the memory. Okay, how can we see this? So suppose let's say B is there. So now what I can do, I can write B dot D type. So it will give me the data type of the elements present in the B array. Okay, since array is homogeneous, so we can actually see the data type of all the elements inside the array. Okay. But if I want to see the data type of B, so I will write type of B, it will give me numpy.nd array. So suppose let's say L is there, and you write let's say type of L, so it will give you list, just list only. But in case of array, it is showing us numpy.nd array. Why is that? Because ND array, the data type ND array is not present inside Python, in core Python. It is defined inside the NumPy module. So that is why it is fetching the data from there. Clear class so far, everyone? Any doubt? Any doubt class so far? Hello class, am I audible? Now let's continue. Now see this thing first. See the concept of dimension first. Okay. This is class what we call as 1D array. This is your 1D array. Okay, I hope all of you are getting this. Okay, only single axis is there. In 2D array, there is two axes, axis 0 and axis 1. Or in other words, you can also call it as rows and columns. Okay. Rows and columns. Then there is 3D array. Okay, now in terms of 3D array, now we basically use this term row, columns, row, columns, and layers. Okay. Third dimension we usually call them as layers, but again it is totally, see, when we name the columns now, when we name the axis, okay, so it is basically matter of perspective. Suppose let's say we are creating a rectangle like this. So what will be this called as? This side, we'll call it as maybe let's say height, I guess, or maybe length, right? We'll call it as length. But if I'm creating the same as like this, so we'll call this one as width, right? It is just a matter of like perspective from where we are looking at the shape from. Are you getting this, everyone, or not? Okay. Rows, columns, layers, okay. Or when we say, suppose let's say there is a hole, okay, and I am like there is a very deep hole, okay. I am outside the hole, so I will say depth. Okay, we will use the term depth, okay. But if I'm inside the hole, then I will say height, right? So same thing. Okay, so let's continue now, class. Similarly, here also in case of Python, you can create multi-dimensional arrays. That is ND array. N dimension array where N stands for the number of dimensions. If you want to see now how many dimensions are there, suppose let's say A array is there, so you can simply write A dot ndim. It will give you the number of dimensions present inside the array. Similarly, class, there is one more thing. A dot ndim is there. A dot size is there. Size basically gives us the total count of elements in the array. Then A dot shape is there. Okay. Shape will give you number of elements per dimension or length of length per dimension. Okay. So there is single dimension only, so it is giving us six single like value only. Okay. But if there are multiple dimensions, let me show you. Suppose class, let's say I'm creating an array. A2 is equal to np dot array. What I can do here, I can create list of list 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then we'll create another list 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can see the nested list, right? Okay. Now I can write plus A2. So you can see it is creating a two-dimensional array. Okay, simple way if you want to recognize a like two-dimensional array, you can see two brackets in the starting, two brackets at the end. That is your two-dimensional array. You can also check it also. Ndim, it will give us 2. A2 dot shape plus will give us 2 by 4. Okay, that means 2 rows and 4 columns. 2 rows and 4 columns. So I can do A2 dot size, give us 8 total number of elements in the entire array. Then I can write A2 dot D type, give me the data type of the array. But int 32 basically means class 32-bit integer. Basically, it is specifying how much space is being occupied by the array in the memory. Not by the array, each element of the array. You can control this also how? While you're creating the array, you can create the array, You can mention data is equal to, let's say, you write int 16. You can see it is creating an array of int 16. Okay. So it is like this: int 8, int 16, int 32. It is in powers of 2. Then it is int 64, int 128, and so on. Okay. You can convert this into some other data type also, np.array. Okay. Let's say this is there, a22, a22, and here I will write class a type is equal to, let's say, float. Now float is a code data type, no? So you can mention it float like this also, or you can mention it inside a string also. Both will work. Okay, so you can see it is converting all the data values into float format while storing the array in the program. Clear class so far or not? I have mentioned now while creating the array, I mentioned data equal to float. So that means it was separate. No, it is int 16 is here. Wait, it is separate. I'm creating two separate arrays. So when I write data equal to float, while creating the array, it will convert it into float format. Okay, int 16 is basically your 16-bit 16-bit space for each element of the. Because why do we do that? Simply because suppose let's say if some data is there. Now suppose class, let's say I'm storing this data inside a list. Let's say this is the list separately. Okay, nested list. Okay, and I'm creating an array out of this. Okay, now I know that the array present inside the list is data present inside the list is integer format. Okay? So it will take integer only by default. But suppose let's say I want to do some processing, okay, in which I need float data. Plus, remember, data analysis is all about analyzing data, and in data analysis, it is really important that what kind of data you are dealing with, what type of data you're dealing with. Okay? Suppose let's say whatever processing you are doing is possible on float easily, okay, or you need float data to do some processing, okay, or just for representation, maybe you don't want to show 1, you want to show 1.0. So in that case, what you will do, you will write here np.array l, and then dtype is equal to float. You can see it is converting all of them into float form. Got this class till here, everyone, or not? Okay. All of you got number of dimensions also, right? 2. So let's proceed now. Suppose class, let's say I'm saying a3 is equal to np dot array. I will take this list. So here you can see class. This is a three-dimensional array. Okay, this is now three-dimensional array. Yes, Mamta. I mean, it depends. See, when you say int 32, so int 32 is going to take more space in your memory. Okay, so there is one thing that you do sometimes. So suppose class, let's say I want to block some space. Suppose let's say I want to block some space to do some like processing. Okay, so what I can do in that case, no? I can store the data in like heavy heavy formats, such as int32 or int64. Okay, so what it will do? It will take more space in the memory, and hence the space will be blocked for later use. Okay, so let's understand three dimension also plus here. See one thing. I took a one dimension array, then another one dimension array. Okay, combine them, create two dimension array. Combine them to create two dimension array. I then took two dimension arrays, okay, and then combine them to create a single three dimensional array. Okay, so it is just stack. Okay, when you stack two one dimensional arrays, when you stack double one dimensional arrays, like two one dimensional arrays, so it will create two or more. It can be more also. So it will create your two dimensional array. Okay, when you stack multiple two dimensional arrays, it will create three dimensional. Similarly, if you stack multiple three dimensional arrays, then it will create four dimensional and so on. That is why it is saying n dimensional, because it can be infinite number of dimensions that are possible. Clear class till here or not? Are you getting this, everyone, or not? Can we also use int2 or int8? Int2 I guess is not available. Amit, int2 is the very small, like what? Small data. Okay, int2 is not available, but yeah, int8 you should be able to use. You can try once. Into, I think it won't work. Into, just try it once. Clear class so far? So let's continue. I can give more values also na here. Not necessarily two only. Suppose let's say this is there. I will take one more. Let's call this as, let's say, E31. E31. And here also I will have to include one more. If I run this for class, you can see. Okay, now if I say A31 dot shape. So how many rows are there? Can anyone tell me? How many rows, how many columns, how many layers? Highest ever. Sometimes we don't use this to analyze data, no. We use this to do some mathematical operations on the data or store data in a meaningful format. I'm not asking number of dimension, I'm asking the shape. How many rows, how many columns, how many layers? There are three rows. This is called as row. There are three rows, right? Then there are four columns. Okay, and then there are two layers. Understood? Three rows, four columns, two layers. Okay, so if I run this code, you can see it will give me 2, 3, 4. A31. Just a minute. There are three. is this. Okay. All right. 4 columns, not 4 columns. See what happens now, class. This is how this is printed. Let me show you. Suppose let's say I'm just storing this data. Okay. Only this is there, and I'm putting this inside array and p dot array. So see dot shape. Dot shape. It is giving us 3 by 4. Okay. That means what? Here there are 3 rows and 4 columns. No, 3 rows and 4 columns. So I'm going to show just telling you how it actually represents data. First, whenever see the rightmost number will give you the number of columns. Okay. Then second rightmost, okay, will give you number of rows. Then third rightmost will give you layers, and so on. So that is what is giving you 2 layers, okay, 3 rows and 4 columns. Got this, class? Layers is giving the first thing. Okay, always here also you can see in this array. See the rightmost number is giving us the number of columns. So there are 4 columns present. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 columns are present. And there are 3 rows. First, second, and third. Got this, everyone, class till here or not? Yes, everyone. It is 2-dimensional array or 3-dimensional array. This one is 2-dimensional. See, now there are 2-dimensional rows and columns. Only 2-dimensional rows and columns. This one is 2-dimensional. Okay, and this one is 3-dimensional. Clear, class, everyone? Now, suppose let's say, class, I give you some real life example that you will understand as of now. Okay. Right, Amit. Suppose I am creating some data. Okay, I have a list with me in which now I am doing. I am storing the marks of multiple students. Okay. So first student I am storing, okay, marks like this. Then second student I am storing marks so here try to understand. A single row is representing what? A single row is representing what, class? Student. Okay. In case of row, I am representing student. And in case of this here, okay, this column is representing what, class? Subject. Let's say maths. Are you getting this, class, or not? Now suppose class, let's say there is layer also. Let's say there is a concept of layer also. So what will this represent, class? What will the layer represent now? Anyone? Class. Okay, let's say this is data of class 1, this is data of class 2, or section 1, section 2, or term 1, term 2. Getting this, everyone, or not now? All of you got this class or not? Okay. So this is how we represent data. Now, what is the benefit of this? Because now I can do, like, if I want to do row wise processing, suppose let's say class, I want to calculate the average of all the marks. Okay, so there is a direct function for doing that. You cannot implement these functions that I will cover sometime in case of list, but in arrays you can cover. If you want to calculate the average of all the marks of a particular student, you can do that. If you want to do some calculation based on column, suppose let's say you want to calculate the average marks in mathematics, that also you can do. If you want to do some average of on the basis of class, you want to calculate the average marks of the entire class. Okay, that also you can do. So now you can do dimension wise processing. Are you getting this class or not? Yeah. Okay, so let's continue. Now read this class quickly once. Just this is just theory, so that is why I'm saying. No, there are no inbuilt methods in Imran. Methods are available inside the Numpy module only, not inbuilt in Python. Inbuilt in your Numpy module. Yes, there are methods available for doing all these kind of processings. Sure, Gaurav. I already shared that in the drive folder. You asked in the last someone asked in the last session, so I uploaded it. I've already shared it with the team, so I think they must have uploaded that in a drive. Okay. Shashank, I will check it once. I will ask team because I've already shared from my end. Okay. So all of you write this class in NumPy dimensions. In NumPy dimensions are called as axis. The number of axes is rank. Okay. So suppose let's say if I'm saying that it is a 3-dimensional array, that means the rank of that array is 3. As simple as that. Okay. Now we have already covered all these things. Okay. Now class, let us see how to create array. But there are multiple ways to create array. So let us see that. Okay, one way I already showed you, right? Directly, suppose let's say there is some list or tuple, you can list or tuple or any kind of collection, you can typecast that into an array. First thing that we have already seen. Okay. Next thing class that you can use for creating an array is using the arange method. Okay. All of you remember the range function class? Okay. Range function, what it does, it basically creates a sequence of integers, right? So suppose I'm saying, let's say range of 3, 9. So to create a sequence of integers. Similarly, in Numpy also, there is a method called as np.arange. Arange, this is not arrange. Arange means array. Create an array. So if I write here 3, 9, same thing. You can see it is creating an array. That's the only difference. Rest all is same. You can include steps as also here. Arange, let's say 3, 19, 2. So you can see you can include steps as well. Now there is one more benefit of using NumPy range method of the range function of the NumPy array. What is that? Suppose let's say class we're creating using the inbuilt range function. So in that case, you will mention 3, let's say 9, 0.5. So this will throw error. This will throw error because you cannot have a float value inside the range function. Okay. But same thing class if you do using arange, np.arange 3, 9, 0.5. So it will give you an array having step size of 0.5. All of you understood this or not? Okay. So let's continue class. There is one more thing class called as zeros. np.zeros. Remember the spelling. Okay. np. Or if you don't give the last argument, then it will take default as 1. Step size as 1 it will take. Okay. Vishal, I will explain this in a while again, don't worry, because we are going to use arange function a lot. Now, np.zeros class, what it does, what we need to do here, we have to mention 3, 4. So, what it will do, 3, 4 in a tuple format. So, it will create an array of the shape 3 by 4. You have to mention the shape here, and it will create an array of that shape having all the zeros inside it. Okay, now by default, what happens in case of zeros function, it will create data in float format. But if you want to type pass that, if you want to convert it into integer, the starting only, so you can write data equal to int, hence the output. Same goes for, you can create an array for ones also. np.ones, same thing. Let's say you're writing 3 by 4 by 2. So you can see it is creating 3 layers, 4 rows in each layer, and 2 columns in each layer. Clear everyone till here or not? What is used to create an array of 0? An example. See, 0 and 1 are basically binary values, no? So that is why we use zeros. If you want to do some processing, okay, suppose let's say, I will explain one concept of image processing. You will understand that why do we need zeros. But one reason for that is because 0 and 1 is binary data. Okay, so if you want to do some processing on binary data, that we use zeros for that. then you have to create it separately, Amit. No? Directly there is no function. You have to like put data like this separately, 0 1 0 1 like this. You can do that obviously. Okay. Now class, suppose let's say instead of 0 and 1 you need some other data. You want to create an array where some other data is there. So in that case you can simply write and period full. Okay, in this case you have to mention the shape first, 2 by 3 let's say, and then followed by the element that you want to create the array of. Suppose let's say I'm saying maybe 100, or let's say 23.49. Okay. You can see it is creating a 2 by 3 array of 23.49. Clear class till here? Okay, so let's continue. Jagdish, but you will remember like by practice, no? Full means it is creating a full array of all the elements having the same data. Okay. And also one more thing, nobody see in most of the scenarios now, like even in interviews, okay, obviously it depends on the interviewer also, but I have seen this in I would say uh, like more than 70-80% of the interviews. Okay, the interviews they don't expect you to remember all these methods or functions. You can always Google them. Okay, but they will expect you to remember the concepts. When I say concept, they will like concept of dimension, concept of how you will store data in dimensions, different dimensions, the concept of like why you will use binary data 0 and 1, okay, why you will use maybe like there are other things as well. Okay, so what is the best way to do some processing? Okay, you can do that using array, or you can do that using like some core Python function. Okay, so there they will ask those kind of questions. Okay, and in data analysis, when we talk about data analysis specifically, so they don't expect you to remember all these things. In I would say more than 90% of interviews, they won't expect you to remember the functions. Core Python functions they might expect, but and core Python I mean key which are not like which you cannot create yourself. This append ho gaya, append is there, extend, update, okay, pop, okay, all these functions, all these methods they will expect you to remember. Okay, but suppose let's say count is there. So even if you don't remember count, that is fine because you can write a code using for loop for counting the elements of an array. Getting this class, everyone? Okay, using counter variable count equal to 0 and then count plus equal to 1. You can use that. Okay, so in that case, even if you don't remember the count method, that is also fine. But basic methods, suppose basic methods and functions, say import, print, type, len, okay, all these functions you have to remember. Got this class, everyone? Okay. In data analysis, and the questions they will be asking you will be more related to real life scenarios. Okay, they will ask you, suppose let's say, like right now summer season is going in India. Okay, so one famous question that is going they ask is that uh, that is just a random question, okay, and they are not expecting you to give you the correct answer, correct number per se. Okay, what is the question? Let me tell you. He, uh, do a do some mathematical analysis, okay, and tell how many AC air conditioners will be sold, okay, in the month of June alone in the entire India. Okay, now you will say how we will know the number? No, they are not expecting you to give a correct number. Okay, but they just want to see how you will analyze this. Just to answer this question, what all factors you will consider, what all parameters you will take, how you will do the entire analysis. Getting this, everyone class? Like this, run the code once in your system. If you're asking the question, you can copy paste and run the code yourself also, no? AC and month. Abhishek, are you asking something in that? They will ask how many ACs will be sold in the month of June, okay, or maybe in the entire year. Okay, so they just want to see your thought process, how you will come to the conclusion that okay, the selling of ACs will be dependent on all this information. Suppose let's say humidity, location. Okay, then there will be your population. Okay, then region, obviously region in terms of like if it is southern India, then it will be more like more ACs will be sold. Okay, because that is temperature is comparatively high there. Okay, in northern India, temperature is like comparatively lower. Okay, so that is also there. Then what like different sectors are there. Okay, inflation. Okay, then recession. Okay, then there is like you will see the average salary of people. Okay, different levels, not levels. What is the right term? Different uh, like status, economic status of people, okay, affordability, right? Okay. So suppose let's say we are talking about location, let's say Delhi. Okay. So in Delhi, you can see that most of the people are like can afford ACs, right? In case of Delhi. Okay. So in that case, you will see that okay, yes, in Delhi, more ACs will be sold. Okay, as compared to some other state, let's say if I take maybe Jharkhand, okay, or let's say I don't know Odisha, let's say, okay. So in Odisha, comparatively, I am saying less number of ACs will be sold because that is like still under development. Are you getting my analysis class? Okay. So basically, they will say see that what all factors you are considering while doing the analysis. Even if you say that 100 ACs will be sold in the entire year, that is also fine. Okay, but you have to prove okay how you came to the number 100 ACs. Clear class so far or not? Basically, see what happens in that case. You can either ask them that okay, if they want the data for specific state only or not, or they will mention that okay, I want the data for entire India. So in that case, it is totally up to you how you're dividing. You can divide the India state-wise. Okay, that okay, there are 28 states. Okay, so 28 or 29, whatever the number is. That okay, this in these states, okay, you will then categorize them on basis of multiple factors. Suppose let's say you will take metro cities separately. You will take let's say metro states. Okay, let's say you will take Delhi. Okay, you will take let's say Kolkata. Okay, you will take let's say Hyderabad. Okay, so you will take separate cities. Okay, categorize them in a separate manner. Okay, do analysis them on separately. Non-metro cities separately. You can do the analysis region-wise also. Eastern, western, northern, southern, and central. Okay, you can do that also. Okay, you can do it on the basis of let's say maybe hemisphere, like not hemisphere. Okay, hemisphere to nahi aayega isme. Okay, you can do it on the basis of maybe categorize them. Okay, on the basis of let's say rural or urban also. Okay, you can categorize them on the basis of let's say like economic, socio-economic status also. Say you can take middle class, okay, high class, low class. Based on that also you can do the analysis. So you will analyze separately for low class, separately for middle class, separately for upper class, and then whatever number you will get for all three of them separately, you will combine them, add them, and you will say the answer. Okay, whatever answer you will say, okay, you will be like asked to prove that. Okay, they will give you 10 minutes or 5-10 minutes, okay, just to think about it, okay, and then they will expect some answer from you. Not a complete answer, but they just want to see your thought process. Okay, as a data analyst, what all things you will consider? Okay, what are factors you will consider? What are factors you will take into account? That is really, really important. How deep you are able to go while considering something. Okay. Another question for this can be that okay, how many road accidents will be there in the entire here let's say for road accidents, like I'm not saying for every interviewer, but I personally prefer in case of road accidents to give a city or at least a state. Okay, I usually ask in this manner. Why? Okay, because it becomes a lot easier and a lot interesting, okay, to see what all factors that person is able to like take. Okay, suppose let's say, and what myself do usually, I take that city only in which that person lives. Suppose that person is from, let's say, Delhi. So I will ask that, okay, how many road accidents will be there in Delhi? Because, and this will be kind of my initial, like, I will ask this question in the starting only. Because this question is comparatively very easy because that person lives in city. First thing, that person knows like everything about city, like Delhi, right? If I am asking it for Delhi specifically, and then I'm not asking for India, just for that city so the analysis will become easier. Getting this class, everyone? Okay. Now there is one more thing, class, I usually say, okay, to everyone who wants to go into data analysis or data science or related fields. Okay, do one thing. Okay, we have already started a data analysis, so you can start now. Okay, if possible. Okay, what you need to do, whenever you come across something new, anything. Suppose let's say there is that war going on now between I don't know, Israel or Iraq or something. No, okay. So suppose that war is there. Okay. Earlier there was war between Russia and Ukraine. That is still going on. Okay. Then some war between Palestine and Israel, I guess, also some time back. Okay. There was some if I remember there was some hot question. Okay, in 2020. Okay, there was, if you remember, there was Amazon rainforest fire. Remember, class? There was a very uh, like big fire, okay, fire, like forest fire, okay, in 2020. Okay, so I remember because I was working on that project at that time. Okay, on this forest fire project only. So then there was Australian wildfire also. Remember, in the same year, Australia wildfire. Okay, so this was a hot question at that time. But okay, suppose let's say Russia-Ukraine war was there. Okay, so how the Russia-Ukraine war is going to affect the Indian agricultural sector? Okay, totally disjoint sets, right? Indian agriculture sector is different. Okay, and your Russia-Ukraine wars come under international relations. Okay, and defense. Okay, that is separate. Okay, but just to see the analysis because there obviously they will impact because there will be a shortage of what like cereals and like food, right? So all those things will be required. Okay. Plus there will be impact on other sectors as well, which will like indirectly impact the agricultural sector in India. Okay. So just to see your analysis, how and where you're going to, what all factors you're considering. So this kind of questions they ask. Okay, so do one thing, do it from now onwards. Okay, that whenever you come across some data, some anything, okay, any news, anything, okay, do one thing. Okay, do a simple analysis how that particular news is going to affect you or your family or your city or your state at least. If you're doing more analysis, obviously that is better. How it is going to affect India, or how it is going to affect the economy in India, or how it is going to affect the education system, or agriculture sector, or defense sector, okay, or e-commerce, or whatever. Okay, you can, if you want to, if you can go into that, okay, based on whatever your background is, if you can get into that, that is obviously much better. But at least whenever you come across any news, instead of discarding that news outright, okay, make sure all the major news, all the major news items on that too on a weekly or a daily, like I would say bi-weekly. Bi-weekly means twice in a week. Okay. So do that so that your analysis, your analytical thinking, your analytical power, okay, will basically like increase over time. It is not about analysis is correct or not. I'm not asking you to come to a conclusion. I'm just asking you to gather the information and think of different factors, how they're going to impact a particular news or whatever. Are you getting my point? Okay, I'm not asking you, okay, how the, like, for example, elections are going on. I'm not asking you to what asking you, okay, what will be the scenario of India in next 10 years, okay, because of this current elections. I'm not asking you that. I'm not asking you to give me a like 100% or even 90% or even 50% correct analysis. I just want to see that, okay, what all factors you are able to include while analyzing this particular situation, because that is data analysis. Okay, coming to a correct analysis at the end will take practice and experience over time. Okay, and since most of you are will be going as a fresher in the field of data analysis, okay, so that will be, they will consider that, okay, that is fine, if even if you're not giving a correct analysis. Okay, but sometimes what, there is one more thing, one more factor here. Since most of you are coming from a corporate, like some experience, right? Some corporate background you already have. Okay, some experience in the industry already have. Suppose let's say Abhishek is there, and Abhishek, in which sector you are working? Abhishek, Mamta, if you can specify. IT sector. Okay, Mamta, what about you? BCA last year. Okay. Anyone plus anyone from non-technical background? If you can mention your sector here. Power sector. Okay. Suppose let's say Raj is working in power sector. Okay. So there is a very high possibility that in the interview of Raj, okay, what they will ask Raj is, ki, suppose let's say power sector. Okay, just give me a minute. Suppose let's say power sector is there. Okay. So one question that is coming to my mind is that how, since like global warming is increasing at very like fast pace, okay, so how global warming will impact the power sector in India in next 5 years or next 2 years? Are you getting this question, Raj and others? Like, how I am connecting them, because the higher global warming is there, so ACs and like fridge, all those items will be used more, requiring more power. Okay, then there is shortage of water because of global warming. There is shortage of, like we cannot, as far as I know, I might be wrong, but as far as I know, we cannot make electricity from ocean water, right? Because of salt, right? And that will I think erode the turbines and everything. Okay, so we need fresh water for that, as far as I know. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we need fresh water for hydropower electricity. Okay, so so fresh, like since glaciers are like melting, right? So we have less fresh water as compared to before, like earlier. Are you getting this, class, everyone? Okay, so this is the, like, suppose if someone, I have very less information about power sector, okay, but if someone asks me this kind of question, I will proceed probably in this direction. That is fine, Shashank. We're talking about future, but data analysis focuses on past. Yes, I totally agree. Okay, but when you talk about past or future, both of them, your analysis is going to be same, na? The factors and the parameters on which a particular thing will be dependent on are going to be same. Power sector was dependent on global warming last year also, and it will be dependent on global warming next year also. Are you getting this, class? So we just want to see the direction you are following. Okay, the parameters and the factors you are taking into consideration, and how you are, like I say one term, connecting the dots. How you are connecting them together to understand the impact of something on something. So in that case, Raj, you have to select the most suitable variables. Now, like, see, in that case, now we basically, just a minute. Confidence. No, I just totally forgot the term just now. Huh. In a like later on, there is something called as correlation matrix, or you can say dependency value. Okay, so when there are multiple variables or multiple factors on on which a particular thing is dependent on, in that case, what we do, we take those variables into consideration which are going to impact a particular thing more. But at the same time, it is better to like mention those parameters as well which will impact very less. Suppose let's say I am talking about road accident. So tell me, is my salary going to impact the road accident, whether I will be in a road accident or not? Okay, is this thing dependent on my salary as well, directly or indirectly? Some of you are saying yes, some of you no. Can you tell me yes, why, Abhishek? How it will impact? Anyone? Those who said yes. Insurance and family and treatment comes later, Abhishek. I am talking whether there will be accident or not. These things come after the accident. Excellent, right? Choice of vehicle. Okay, based on my salary, choice of vehicle will be there. Okay, so I'm driving scooty. Okay, so scooty is more prone to accident, right? I don't know if you know this, on smaller wheels. Okay, then bike is there. Somewhat costlier. Okay, but again, somewhat safer also. Okay, then small car. Okay, much better, but less safe as compared to bigger vehicles, right? Bigger as in bigger cars. Okay, suppose let's say XUV is there. So XUV is like most safe in terms of cars. Okay, XUV is there. Then there is SUV. SUV is even more safe than XUV, right? Okay. How by analysis, how I to know your salary is not important. I didn't get the question, Raj, exactly. So even if there is a super bike, then that is also not. People can have super bikes, but then you will take into consideration my background also. No? Suppose let's say if I'm saying that I'm talking about India, okay, so you will take that also into consideration that okay, number of people on an average, how many people actually you take super bikes in India, okay, or suppose in the city also. Suppose let's say I am someone from let's say Odisha, okay, so even if I'm rich, okay, there is a very less possibility that I will purchase a super bike. Are you getting this class? Superbike as I don't know the analysis, but I will see in my thing. I will also prove. I will have to tell them, no? Yeah, I am taking this thing into consideration. I am assuming there will be obviously some assumptions also. So in this case, I will assume the people from Delhi will purchase more superbikes as compared to people from Odisha, or maybe like because there is more shosha in Delhi. Okay, there is more modernization. Okay, people are more, I would say, I don't know, having like there is more exposure, okay, to luxuries and all in Delhi. Okay, so based on that, I am saying that okay, yes, people in Delhi will are more prone to like more not prone, but more likely to buy a super bike, okay, as compared to people from like high earning individuals from Odisha.